Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year, and
Oh,
welcome to our
wonderful.
very first session of 2026. Here we are. Let me just make sure everyone's muted. So, thank you so much for signing up for our MOT program, your body's MOT, upgrade your MOT, starting next week. And here today, I've just introduced a little bonus session while we can envisage our 2026 and to get us into the mood, into the spirit. In case you don't know who I am, I'm Claudia. I'm a nutritional therapist and eating psychology coach with this year 20 years clinical experience. It's absolutely a thrill and a delight to work with you all. I lecture at the Nutritional Healing Foundation. I'm co-founder of something called Weight Jab Journey, which is specialist support for people taking weight loss injections. I run a private clinic, nutritional clinic called Nourish You as well, for anyone wanting one-to-one help. So I do all sorts of different things, and it's absolutely lovely to see you all. I hope you all had a lovely Christmas. I hope you're keeping warm, and here's to 2026. Now, I've been thinking about what to talk about and how to position it. And then last night on my Instagram feed, Mel Robbins, the goddess called Mel Robbins, who I absolutely love. I don't know if you know her. It's really inspirational, a lady. She posted on her Instagram post, there's a photo of her walking across the street, and it says, "Repeat after me. Let me walk into one of the best years of my life." Let me walk into one of the best years of my life. I found that really inspiring, and I hope you do too. You're going to need a pen and paper because this is going to be an interactive session today. Um, but let me walk into one of the best years of my life. And in order to have one of the best years of our lives, we need to gather that energy, gather that vitality, that health, that well-being. And this is where these nutrition sessions come in. This is where, obviously, each week we're going to be talking about a different topic, but feel free to ask questions in the chat and I will answer them as best I can. And we're building our community here, and you've got this resource at the ready, so we can be really directional. We know where we're going in 2026. We know what we want to achieve. We want to have one of the best years of our lives. And you might be thinking, oh, I'm not sure if that's possible. Think again, make it happen. It might be about reconnecting with long lost family. It might be all sorts of other things in your life. It might be about, for the first time in your life, getting into fitness. It's never too late. It is never, ever too late to benefit from improvements in your nutrition, your fitness, your overall well-being, mental health, the whole thing. So I know some of you have done this with me before, but just for a moment, if you've got a sore neck, you could always use your arm to turn. But I just want you to turn to the right, or use your arm as much as you can, and just clock where you got to. So I can see where I got to, and then just come back to the middle a second and close your eyes and just imagine you are a bird of prey and you can swivel your head 360 degrees all the way around. And I want you to just take a moment to close your eyes and visualize what's behind you. What's behind you there? And open your eyes again, turn your head, and just notice how much further you went. Did you all notice how much further you went? It's so clever, isn't it? And what all I'm saying here is when we put a bit of intention, when we know the direction of travel, we can go that much further. It really does make a difference. So I thought, well, launch this session. Now, this isn't the usual type of session that we do on the Zooms, just in case you are new to my Zooms. Normally, we go into the science and the biology and all of that, but today is a bit different. We're doing the envisaging. So, envisaging, it's quite hard to say that word. So, I'm drawing on my NLP qualifications, neuro linguistic practitioners, which I studied under many of you know, Kath Temple, the amazing Kath Temple. And we're going to start with something called the coaching scale, which is like where I want you, you can do it standing up, or you could just do it closing your eyes, imagining. But I want you to imagine that there's a scale in front of you from the numbers 0 to 10. And if you are doing this like physically in a room, make sure number 10 is by the window, by the light. And I want you to imagine 10 is the very highest. What number, thinking about the last quarter of 2025 and probably 2025 as a whole, what number would you put your nutrition on? Like, how healthily have you been eating? Um, have you been nourishing your body in the way that you'd like to, and honoring that? Just put yourself on a number. And just go with the first number that comes into your head. Don't overthink it. Just go number. And just take a moment to feel how it feels to be living life on that number. So some of you might have gone for 7, some of you might have gone for 4 or 3. There's a whole spectrum here. Someone might have gone for 10. It's unlikely though. So just feel how it feels to be nourishing your body in the way of 2025, and what that means for your life, your ability to socialize, have fun, I don't know, play games with the grandchildren, run around. What does this mean for your life, living on this number on the scale? Just let them make a note of that number and just let it soak in for a moment. And now I want you to open your eyes and think about the highest number. What's the highest number you imagine that you could possibly get to? Can you go from a 7 to a 9, or even a 9.5, or a 10? Can you push yourself a little bit more? Can you go a bit higher? And I want you just to imagine that you're stepping into that number and just feel the difference in your body, feel the difference in your energy and vitality by nourishing your body a little bit more carefully with a little bit more intention. What Where does that lead you? Where does that lead you in terms of resistance to the flus and the colds? Where does that leave you in terms of your, muscle fatigue and bone density and everything else? Remissions? How can we improve and feel that nourishment and the impact on our bodies? And hopefully you feel on that higher number, you feel your body feels lighter and brighter. And then we go, open your eyes and we go back to your original number. So go back to the original number and just notice that it doesn't feel as comfortable, doesn't feel quite as comfortable as that higher number. And if there were 3 things that you could do to improve your nutrition to get to that higher number, what would they be? What would they be? And maybe you could just make a little note of those 3 things. And if you don't know what those 3 things are, that's absolutely fine too, because that's why you're here. We're going to be every week inspiring you with little changes, little nudges, shifts around liver health, heart health, blood sugar. We're going to be talking about all of these, going into the science and the nutrition and looking at it in depth. So you will get inspiration along the way. It's just sometimes things spring to mind pretty quickly, and you might think, actually, it's so simple, but I need to drink more water. And I noticed Jill just reaching for her mug there. That was great. But yeah, sometimes we just need to, it could be as simple as drinking more water, eating a few more veg a day, Maybe some more plant-based meals, maybe some more extra legumes and beans, if they agree with you. So feel free to put in the chats or unmute yourself if you'd like to. Just any insights that you've uncovered from this like mini little exercise. You're very, very welcome. You can put your hand up. Hi. Uh, Let me just see. Okay. Uh, so what I have here now is some inspiration to share with you. So we're going to look at some of the food trends of 2025. And then we're going to, I've managed to find a Holland and Barrett 2026 predictions for 2026. And then we all the while thinking about how can I move up that scale a little bit? What's meaningful for me? Is there something in there? There's some nuggets there that I can take on board. Oh, great. Um, Oh, brilliant. One lady said, get out my smaller plate. Smaller plates are brilliant, aren't they? I love bowl food. It feels so comforting, especially in this cold weather, doesn't it? They just having some eating on a smaller plate is really, really good for eye, what I call eye trickery. So it's the cephalic phase digestive response. So if we think when we look at our food and we eyeball our food, if we think that's going to be enough, we will feel full. If we look at that same amount of food that's in a bowl or on a small plate and it looks like it's sort of overflowing on that plate, it looks big, but you transfer that exact same amount of food onto a larger plate, it looks much smaller. So then we think, oh my gosh, I'm going to be hungry after eating. And guess what? Hungry after eating. Um, Oh, lovely. Brilliant. More water, less gluten, and smaller portions. Okay, so maybe trying the smaller plate strategy could be helpful, or eating out of a bowl is very good. Making sure as well we're putting our fork down between mouthfuls. I'm not saying count the number of chews or anything that crazy, but just putting the fork down, just slowing down a little bit can really help us feel more full after eating a smaller portion. And really interestingly, Elaine, I know you're in France, but in the UK, a lot of supermarkets like Marks and Spencer's on Monday, I think, are bringing out their range for people who are taking weight loss injections. So they are going to be smaller portions, but high density nutrition. So I'm thinking, great, when I see whatever in the supermarket, I'm not on weight loss injections, but I might choose to have that food. And I think it is the way that the food industry is going, just because there's so many millions of people taking these injections. I think restaurants are going to start bringing in smaller plates. And I'm like, yippee. That's just, I would automatically choose a smaller, hopefully a bit cheaper plate of food would be very nice. Um, so walk more water, more veg. Love it. So remember that the time of day we are most dehydrated is when we wake up in the morning. So if you could have a pint glass or a good decent glass of water at that time, that you're going a long way towards helping with the um, helping. I was in Lidl yesterday. I thought, right, how do I want to start the new year? I know I want to fill my fridge with really healthy vegetables and foods and everything else. So I went to Lidl and you know the Lidl in the middle, the aisles. I always love looking at what they've got there. And they had big water bottles, but the problem is the water bottles were so big. It was so enormous. I said to my partner, my boyfriend, I said, I would hate to be lifting this up, drinking it. I think that's really off-putting. But it's an idea, isn't it? If you portion out your target water for the day, and then you could always be pouring it into glasses. And a lot of people say to me, but I don't like the taste of water. Maybe look into getting a filter. I've got a water 2 filter, one of the Bear Grylls ones, and it takes out all the chlorine. The water tastes so much nicer. it's not very expensive. Uh, and then less gluten. I love the less gluten. See how you are without any gluten at all. And if you know that you do better without any gluten, it might be an idea to avoid completely for 3 months and then reintroduce rather than just having less of it, because less of it could still leave lingering symptoms like bloating, fluid retention, constipation, those kind of things. You might find it's better just to go a step further. Um, right. Exercise more, cut down on sugar, reduce alcohol. This is brilliant. So, have you guys got a strategy for exercise more? I would really recommend the Harris Collective, Tim Harris. Obviously, well, there's Jim's Gym as well. But doing something with a bit of help can be a good idea. Um, uh, I did a lymphatic drainage body pumping thing to this morning. There's so much as well on YouTube, isn't there? Cut down on sugar. This is exactly what we're going to be talking about next week. Perfect, perfect time to be cutting down on sugar and reducing alcohol. Now, remember that appetite can when we drink alcohol, appetite can vary tremendously. It can go from huge to not at all. We've got to be careful with managing our appetite, making sure our nutrition is on track. And of course, alcohol disrupts our blood sugar, which means that we end up craving more sugary foods. So there's a lot we can do around that. And when we have alcohol regularly, remember that it is depleting our B vitamins, it's affecting our microbiome. So just anything that we can be doing to support that can be very helpful. And also to remember that the body loves to have at least 3 days to recover from alcohol. So, a lot of people say, "Oh, I have a little glass of wine every night with my meal, and that's my ritual." But if you could just change that ritual to maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, and give the rest of the week off, your liver would really appreciate that. It makes a difference to have those three consecutive full, or three or four or five consecutive full days. Oh, I love it. Reverse the end of year sugar rush. I know it can all go a bit haywire and a bit crazy. Um, when I always think of Prue Leith, and I always think, was that worth the calories? But in my mind, I do. What was that worth the sugar? No. And some of it was, some of it wasn't. Oh, I love it. Small bowls, small cutlery. That's good. Good cutlery. Um, Debbie, I've made my homemade bone broth and veg soup for lunch today. Amazing. I bought my chicken in Lidl yesterday, my free range. I know that that's the correct thing to be eating, but still have my lovely Lindt chocolates in the house, which do not help with a healthy lifestyle. Can you pass them on? Can you pass them on to someone? I know um yeah, it's not always easy to do that, is it? Yeah, hmm. I feel like New Year just I'd be tempted just to chuck it out because it's either waste in the waste bin or waste on our waste. The Spanish have a lovely expression. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it works perfectly. It's either like waste in the waste bin or waste as in inches on the waist. So yeah, up to you. Oh, brilliant. Jill's saying I did Jim's gym did 2 classes this morning. Oh, great question. Is there any such thing as good alcohol? Um, There's definitely sh less sugary alcohol. So the most sugary alcohol, obviously, is the mulled wine. Mulled wine is like the highest of the high. And then you go into the champagne and proseccos. And I had a glass of prosecco on New Year's Eve, and I was fully aware it was entirely sugary. That's okay. Um, and then the lowest, least sugar are things like vodka with lime and soda water. That's kind of the least sugary drink. Um, I don't know. Good alcohol. You've got the Guinness. My grandfather used to have a Guinness every day or half a Guinness, and because of all the B vitamins. I'm not sure anymore. I'm not sure that we think of that like that anymore. And it's really in terms of cognitive function and brain function, we've just got to be so careful with the alcohol. I'd veer on the side of caution with that. Oh, excellent. Jill, I smell cakes before I eat. If they smell too sweet, I don't eat. Oh, I love that. I love that. Um, when I'm really tuned in, and I'm not tuned in at the moment, I go through phases. But when I'm really tuned in, I do something called a sway technique, which is where you can hold some food, or I do it for food, but you can do it for anything. You hold it and you say, is this best for me? And then yes, 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 you find you sway one way, and no, 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 you find you sway another way, maybe back or to the side. And I used to be in the supermarket, and I could tell by when I looked at a food, the way I would sway, I could tell I was very tuned in. But then I chose to tune out for Christmas. That's okay too. We can just get back on it, and we know we've got these tools, and we know they work for us. But it's called kinesiology, this sort of technique, and specifically the sway technique. And if you'd like to learn more about it, I can definitely help you out with that. But it is something that's quite an interesting way. It's really about getting us tuned in, getting us into our bodies, because so often we're living in our heads, and and our brain is going, feed me, feed me, feed me. And we can be so undernourished and overfed, which is what happens at Christmas. And then I don't know, maybe you're sat watching a Christmas movie, and they're passing around the Quality Street, the boxes of Heroes and Quality Street, and you're just tucking in, and it's just automatic. Whereas, if when we're tuned into our bodies, that just doesn't happen so much, because it's so easy to think, that's not serving my future self. That's not serving me. And this is who am I going to be at the end of 2026? Where am I going to be in my life? These are questions I'd really love for you to start thinking about in terms of our nourishment and our food. Um, I wanted to say I have a glass of Tipico kefir in the evenings now, and do not even think about alcohol. That's that's winning. That is totally winning, Janet, because not only are you avoiding the alcohol, but you're nourishing your microbiome with the kefir, with the water kefir of Tipico. That's absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. So going back to our friend Mel Robbins, let me walk into one of the best years of my life. That's what I want you to be saying. Um, we can think about, let's take just a moment of reflection on 2025. Think about the highlights of 2025, and what did I learn from 2025? What did you learn? And how did that reflect on yourself? Quite often we find our food habits can go awry, our sense of nourishment can go awry when life gets in the way. So it's interesting to learn what are triggers, what happened last year. Or was it joy? Was it, a friend came to visit, you had a wonderful time, you drank Prosecco all weekend long, and then after that, the nutrition went out the window. What were your triggers? And what can you learn from that? I thought at this point, I'm going to show you a Guardian article about the trends of 2025. And it's quite a nice little article. It's called Soak It Up: Everything Science Taught Us About Health and Wellness in 2025. So I'm going to share this link so you can actually read it. We'll jump to the highlights though. So collagen might help you jump higher. So collagen's effects on your skin might be slightly overstated. Look, we know if you're taking collagen, you'll know if it's working for you. You'll know the benefits. For me, it's my nails, my hair, skin. I see the change, but I see the change when I stop taking it as well, I have to say. So I just put in my iHerb order this morning before I went online. So just think about what's working for you because not all supplements are going to work for everyone. It really depends on our gut function and how well we're able to assimilate those nutrients. Um, but they found here's another reason to take collagen, a 16-week trial on healthy young men well, healthy young men, you see, their collagen levels wouldn't be being depleted naturally. The results of which were published in July found it can enhance muscle tendon stiffness, which appears to improve explosive strength. So you might be able to jump higher. So hot baths might be the next best thing next to training up a mountain. Okay, a study published in May, where the training effects from one stressor, such as heat, might carry over to another, such as altitude. So they did these 20 trained adults did a high intensity interval training program and then dunked half of them in hot water after their sessions. After 6 weeks, they tested the athletes under low oxygen conditions and found the hot bath gang's time to exhaustion was 25% longer than the control groups. So again, I mean, a nice hot bath. Just be careful if you have conditions like rosacea, because we don't want to be opening up all the pores and bringing out more heat and redness. It's really individual. If you are going to have a lovely warm bath, though, I do recommend adding in.
What does he want anyway?
Let me just,
I
sorry,
didn't want to know about the
stop the
payment,
share a moment.
whether we're going to do
Muted. Um, if you are going to have a lovely warm bath, I really recommend putting some magnesium flakes in it just to, uh, get the most out of it. And now, of course, cold training is probably bad. If you've spent, you'll have seen people jumping into everything from alpine lakes to wheelie bins full of ice to boost post-training recovery. But evidence is mounting that it might have the opposite effect. People found that when young athletes plunged one leg into chilly water after resistance workout, it reduced blood flow and delivery of amino acids, which we know is all about muscle repair. So it would actually stunt rather than promote muscle growth. This is how it is I have to say, with all health trends. They're kind of like clay pigeons. They go up, 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 and then they're shot down. And then they recover again and they go up, 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 up again, and they get shot down. But we know that I think it's called it's called thermogenesis. No, there's a word for it. When you go into a cold bath, it's a stressor to the body. It creates stress, and that stress builds resilience, which is one of the main mechanisms how these cold plunges work. But now this study is just showing that it's not going to help with muscle recovery. So maybe don't do your wheelie bin ice bath straight after training. Do it another time if you want to keep doing it. Beetroot juice is good again. Well, we know all about that, don't we? So beetroot juice is a natural source of dietary nitrate, which the body converts into nitric oxide, improving blood flow and lowering the oxygen cost of exercise. So I'm just going to take a moment to explain about this, just in case. Nitric oxide is absolutely essential for all our blood vessels. So I use it in practice a lot now. I use it for people with gum issues, with hemorrhoids and piles, with varicose veins, with blood pressure issues, with Raynaud's syndrome, any kind of circulatory issues. It is amazing. Sexual function for men and women, erectile dysfunction, and everything. It's like a miracle cure. Anyway, so the purple elixir is making a comeback. A study published in August by researchers at the University of Exeter found taking concentrated juice shots twice a day lowered blood pressure in older adults after just 2 weeks. Adults in their 60s and 70s saw improvements in their oral biome, so the bacteria in their mouths. Beneficial bacteria increased while harmful ones decreased, helping to convert nitrate to nitric oxide, which is key to healthy blood vessels. So, and then people are discovering there's studies around it helping with preventing heart disease because it's so important for the integrity of the blood vessels. Now that be careful because just going and eating beetroot, that's wonderful, or just going and drinking beetroot juice, that's again wonderful, but it might not necessarily increase your nitric oxide. So you can get nitric oxide test strips, indicator strips is their proper name, on Amazon, and you just put them on your tongue. And it will give the color pink. How deep a pink reflects the color of your nitric oxide levels. And I find, for example, when I eat beetroot, it doesn't massively increase my nitric oxide. But when I take beetroot powder, I take something called Total Beets from iherb.com. It boosts my nitric oxide because otherwise I'm naturally very low in nitric oxide. And I think this might be the cause or the reason why I've had high blood pressure over the years since my 20s. And at the time, no one could figure it out. So I wonder if it's all linked to nitric oxide. Um, so exercise seems to help with internet addiction. Great. Gargling with pickle juice can stop cramps. Has anyone tried that before? I don't like the sound of that one. It's a source of electrolytes, so I can think of lots of better, more delicious ways to have our electrolytes. Maybe start with, for example, some coconut water would be really good. Sodium and potassium in particular, but the anti-cramp effect seems to come from the sour taste, which stimulates reflex signals that make muscles relax. The good news is you don't even have to drink the juice. Swilling it around your mouth can work. Okay, creatine. So we talked quite a lot about creatine last year. It might help your brain. Although it's often used for bodybuilders, ask if you've got grandsons or sons who like going to the gym for a workout, ask I think you'll earn brownie points from them. If you say, oh yes, I'm on my creatine, they'll love it. Evidence is mounting that creatine might bolster your brain. It can help cognition in older adults, according to a study published in September, and might improve clinical outcomes in menopausal women. So, and then finally, sex is a mood booster for up to 2 days. Okay, so those were some of the trends from 2025. Were you embracing any of them? I know lots of you were on the collagen. I think some of you might have been on the creatine as well. Let me know. Or what changes did you introduce in 2025? I see some of you said you're going to be trying gluten-free. Maybe made some discoveries around that. Uh, you can put it in the chat if you'd like to, or feel free to unmute yourself at any time. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a look at the 2026 health predictions. Now, please don't feel like you have to take all of this on board at all. It's always about working out what's right for you as an individual, and we are not sheep here. We're not just following the trend. And you see, what happens is people do follow all the trends and then they get overwhelmed. And then, like we said, it's like clay pigeon shooting. The clay pigeon gets shot down. And then people go, oh, well, I don't know what to do now. So I'm not going to do anything because it's like total decision fatigue around how to improve your health and what to do. I just find it interesting, almost like, from a voyeuristic point of view, let's see what's happening in the market. I like to keep up with it all and obviously look at all the science and the data and then think, right, how could this benefit my clients or myself? What's the best of this? What can we take from this? Um, okay, do you take creatine alongside collagen? Oh, brilliant. So one of your changes, Jill, was collagen powder added to your diet. Did you notice any changes? That's what I want to know because all of these, they shouldn't be life sentences. You should know why you're taking them, and if they're working for you, great. And if they're not, stop taking them. Like we need to work out. Um, so So creatine is an amino acid, and you want to take creatine monohydrate is the type. And what it does, Geeta, is it hydrates the muscles. So when people first start taking it, never take more than 5 grams, which is 1 tablespoon. And it you will notice when you look in the mirror and you do some, I mean, you can't see my biceps here, but I can tell you they're pretty good. But when you look in the mirror after a few days of taking the creatine, you'll be going, oh, actually, you do see a little bit of a difference. So if you are someone who weighs yourself every single day, which I don't recommend, just know that you are likely to gain a pound or so, just because there is a little bit more hydration in the muscles. But it is also supposed to be very helpful for cognition and brain function. I don't know the exact mechanics, but the studies are showing it can be very helpful. So that's the idea. But and a lot of people, if you were to look on the internet, they talk about loading creatine and going up and up and up. You do not need to do that. For us, for the reason we're taking it, I'm taking it to help support my lean muscle. I want to do more fitness in 2026. I want to build more muscle. So I'm taking it for that and also for cognitive function. But you do not need to go higher than 5 grams, 1 tablespoon a day. Otherwise, you could risk a bit of bloating or fluid retention. Oh, Jill, brilliant. So from taking the collagen, your finger joints feel better. I'm so pleased. That is a win. That's a win-win, and definitely worth continuing for that. Um, so it's not an expensive supplement either, which is something that I quite like about it. I'm not bothered what brand you buy. You know, sometimes we have to be very particular with fish oils and that kind of thing. But with creatine, I just buy iHerb's own brand, which is the California Gold. I just reordered mine just now this morning. I take it as part of my breakfast smoothie, and I take collagen and creatine together. I used to take them both on an empty stomach an hour before any food, and that is obviously the ideal way to take them because that's where the studies are. People take them on empty stomachs for the studies. But I just found I started getting a bit icky about the texture, which I was annoyed with myself about. But I was waking up in the morning thinking, oh, and I don't like waking up thinking, oh, I want to think, yay, for starting the day. And so I decided to totally change my morning routine completely. And now I have a smoothie with, so this morning I put fresh ginger, creatine, collagen, some high polyphenol olive oil, some nut butter, some pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, avocado. I do put a bit of beetroot as well. Um, I think that's about it. There's more. There's more. I can't remember right now. Flaxseed. Did I say pumpkin seeds? You know, the whole thing with like 3/4 water or like 2/3 water and the rest oat milk. And it would give it a whiz. And that is my morning nutrition. Oh, some fresh celery as well. Um, so yeah, oh, brilliant. So Jill, you got the iHerb collagen, which is I think it's one of the most affordable on the market, and it's the one that helps with your finger joints. It's great that iHerb collagen is good because it's got hyaluronic acid and vitamin C in it as well. So it's very supportive, very, very supportive. The hyaluronic acid will help with the cushioning of the joints, of your finger joints. So I suspect it's not just the collagen helping there. It might be the two things together. So, okay, great. Let's have a little look at the predictions now for 2026. Like I say, please don't feel you need to take everything on board at all. We're going to be looking discerningly. But this is a trend report, wellness trends from 2026 for 2026. So, eight nearly $9 trillion is the projected value of the global wellness market. 60% of Gen Z, so I get so confused I think I'm a Gen Z, prioritize a healthy lifestyle over career, personal enjoyment, or money. That's so interesting. We've had such a shift. I mean, I remember when I graduated 20 years ago, I think it was about 30% of the population were interested in health and any idea of concept of nutrition. So it's really changed. Young people are more likely to take food supplements with 84, or maybe I'm not Gen Z. Maybe I'm, sorry, Gen Z. Having consumed them in the past 12 months, comparison to 73% of boomers. Okay, right. Let's have a little look at this page. So what was trending in 2025? I feel like I missed some of these. This is interesting, isn't it? The 10 most searched ingredients on hollandandbarrett.com in 2025. Number one, magnesium. Magnesium had a huge boom, didn't it? All the companies like, sorry, my electric blanket has just gone off, so I have to switch it back on. Um, uh, there's such a boom in like companies like Nutrition Geeks selling out their magnesium, and it's really affordable. And you can see it's magnesium glycinate that has been the big one this year. Glycinate is more gentle on the tummy, it's less likely to contribute to diarrhea. It also has a very calming effect because it's bonded, the magnesium is bonded with the glycinate amino acid, the glycine. And it's very, very good for relaxation. But a lot of the most popular magnesium supplements at the moment are actually three-in-ones. So it'll be magnesium glycinate with citrate and malate. And I think you can't go wrong with that because your body is likely to take up at least one of them. So I think that's good. So we've got magnesium here, collagen, vitamin D. Now, vitamin D, I hope each and every one of you is taking your vitamin D every day, especially even though it's sun shining, but especially in the winter months, all year round. Protein powder. Oh, that's another thing I had in my shake. Uh, omega-3, probiotics, electrolytes. Ashwagandha is a herb for relaxation. I don't, personally, I don't have that much experience with it. It's because I'm not a herbalist by training. So sales of packs of chia seeds sold at Holland& Barrett have surged by 19.4% year on year. Now, chia seeds or chia seeds are wonderful. They're, action packs, but you've got to soak them properly because they absorb a lot of water. And to soften the outer fibrous membrane, you need to have them soaked. I personally, they don't agree with me. I get heartburn from chia seeds. But other people swear by them and absolutely love them. So it's horses for courses, and that's the big thing we need to remember here. What is right for you as an individual? Excellent. So lots of people book nutrition appointments. Top five sellers, high strength turmeric. So we know that turmeric can be as effective as ibuprofen. Fish oils, I wouldn't be buying at Holland& Barrett fish oils. Oh gosh, I wouldn't be buying cod liver oil either. Milk thistle, I think, yeah, okay. Um, right. Lots of people buying fiber maxing. Now, this is going to fiber. This is my prediction for 2026. Fiber is going to be the new protein. It is going to get a whole lot more exposure and publicity, and that is no bad thing. Because do you remember on Goldstar, we talked about the Hispanic paradox? Why is it that the Hispanic community in America outlive every other community when they've got lower disposable income, lower access to healthcare, lower educational status, lower jobs? Why is it? It's down to the legumes, the beans, the chickpeas, the lentils. That is what helps them live longer. So obviously, fiber isn't for everybody. If you've got digestive conditions, that it might not be the right thing for you. So a pinch of salt, pinch of salt. But this is one of the things that I want to be doing this year. Oh, I love black beans. I love lentils. I just want to eat more of them. Gut scrub. Okay, high fiber ingredients act like gentle brush. This is why I love brown rice, brown basmati rice, brown rice of any form, just brilliant. It acts like that toilet brush effect, cleaning things out. supplement stacking. Millions became their own wellness strategists, thoughtfully combining different supplements to support their unique health goals, leading to the emergence of the terms supplement stacking. I mean, some of the clients that come to me, literally, you could pick them up, give them a little shake, and they would rattle. And I say that sometimes, quite often, I'm not kidding, quite often, my job is to reduce all those supplements. People are spending a fortune. They don't know why they're taking them. They don't know if they're working. Ah, you know, so let's see what else we've got here. Ceremonial cacao, that's lovely. Rage workouts. People channeled their inner chaos into serious movement gains, using anger to fuel intense rage. Okay, electrolyte enhanced nutrition. Water bottles became wellness co-pilots. Okay. Uh, Chia water, the so-called internal shower, adding chia seeds to water to promote hydration, healthy digestion, and lower hunger. That would certainly work. Generated hundreds of millions. So this is what the young folk are all watching on TikTok. Um, Cloud coffee, dubbed cloud coffee, hydrating mix of espresso, hydrating coconut water, and topped with airy foam. That's a bit like the bulletproof coffee, isn't it? Do you remember the bulletproof coffee? It was coconut coconut oil, coffee, and oh, there was something else. Was it butter? I can't remember. Can't remember. I didn't drink coffee at all at that time, so I wasn't into it. Uh, Okay, cortisol cocktail, a simple mix designed to balance the body's stress levels. Okay, great. Um, okay, right. So here we go. The UK health checkup market is projected at around 4.42 billion in the next 10 years, next few years. So gut health, the next generation of biotics. Of course, this is always right now where our health is moving. We're learning more and more and more about different bacteria, different elements of our microbiome, different functions, and how it is so integral to our overall health. It's the foundation of wellness. The entire gut ecosystem influences everything from our brain and our mood to our skin. So there's a focus here, spotlight on fiber sodas. Each triple fiber soda made with acacia, baobab, and Jerusalem artichoke fiber delivers 7 grams of fiber. So we're looking for about 25 grams or 19 to 25 grams of fiber a day. That's the goal, right? I wouldn't waste my money on this kind of drink. I think this is really gimmicky. When you think that a black coffee naturally contains 4 grams of fiber, it doesn't make sense to buy a fiber soda. And Jerusalem artichoke can cause agony for people with bloating and wind and discomfort. I personally, I would not even take a sip of that. But if this is controversial, I really want to hear um your thoughts. Gut superfood powder. Now this could be interesting. I can't see what's in it, but obviously there's papaya and pineapple, kiwi. This is something I would definitely buy. So right now I have some chlorella that I put in my smoothie, but I would easily switch that out for another green powder. And every time I buy a new powder, I'd get a different type, if that makes sense. Don't be beholden to these kind of things. So brain health. Brain health is going to go up into the limelight even more. And they're going to be all sorts of things. Like I see M&S do it a lot at the moment. Marks and Spencer's, they've got all these gut health granolas, gut health seeds and nuts and things. So now they've got it's going to also be brain health. Brain health. So brain health trail mix. We can make our own brain health trail mix. Do you remember our brain health things? All the blueberries, eggs, nuts, seeds. Um, Yeah, all the fish oils. We every meal, every time we nourish ourselves should be about actually about brain health. Uh, what have we got here? Polyphenols. So we've talked a lot about polyphenols, about high polyphenol olive oil is my absolute go-to at the moment. I love that. But they're a diverse group of natural plant compounds that are found across all different fruits and veg. It's just that the polyphenols in olive oil are not found in any other fruit or veg. Otherwise, lots of fruit and veg have crossover between their polyphenols, but olive oil is unique. But you would really need to buy high polyphenol olive oil. I think lots of you have bought from a brand called November. I think that's right. Um, uh, oh, I don't know about this. Bacoba, you see, it's a herb, and I can't advise on herbs, unfortunately. The global brain health market is projected to grow to 15 billion by 2023. But really, the basics for brain health, we've got to get the basics right, and that's blood sugar. We need to have a balanced blood sugar. That's number one. Vitamin D, omega 3s. These get these foundation right before going for all these the kind of I'm going to say the sexy stuff that may not be shot down next year. We've got to get the basics right first. So skin and scalp, the new biomarker for inner health. So 75% of Holland and Barrett customers say they don't do anything to support scalp health. Do you do anything in particular for scalp health? Not sure. I mean, I do tapping. I think tapping helps with the circulation. Um, I've got my obviously my resver yeah not re sorry not resveratrol, my pycnogenol, which is good for all sorts of circulation, and the beetroot, the total beets. Right, so skin and scalp are often our body's first messengers, early signs that something deeper may be out of balance. Yet for decades we've been conditioned to view them only through the lens of beauty. Um, So skin and scalp health are not just about appearance, they're about a window into overall well-being. Okay, so it'll be interesting to learn more about that over the course of the year, won't it? Oh, this is good. The joy of wellness fatigue is real. This is why we run these Zooms, right? So we can actually cut out all the noise and work out actually what's meaningful and what's relevant here. Um, And it teach you to work out what's meaningful and relevant to you as an individual. Okay, weight, of course, weight management. This is here to stay. It's a new era in managing weight. Absolutely. I love this. Embrace the power of citrus. So it's got an active ingredient called eriomin, and I'm not, and metabolate, or for metabolic health, which could be exciting as it supports the whole GLP-1. So that's a glucagon-like protein, which helps us around our appetite and gut function, yeah, to regulate appetite. So the share of UK households with at least one GLP-1 user has doubled in size from 2.3% to 4.1%. So that's significant, isn't it? Uh, GLP-1s are among the most important drug breakthroughs ever. And we want to be supporting people who are taking them, because also remember that some really preventable actually side effects like hair loss, muscle loss, bone density loss, all sorts of symptoms that can be avoided if it is done correctly through the lens of nourishing your body. Okay, movement, fuel your life. Okay, so protein, this is where absolutely protein is so important. Hydration, you can see he's got his water bottle there as well. The power of connection, that's lovely to do it within a community, whether it's an online community or not. So there we go. What did you think? Uh, Okay, brilliant. Better you with vitamin D and K. So D, that's D3, K2. That's very, very good supplement. What's the difference between vitamin D and vitamin D3? So vitamin D comes in three forms. D1 is what we assimilate through the skin and I'm going like this because it's through the forehead and through the forearms mainly. And then that gets converted into D2, which is the form that we can get through food. And then in the liver, it gets converted into D3. So the short answer is D3 is the active form, and that is the important one to take because if you're taking a lot of vitamin D2, your body might not be converting it properly. So that's why we don't say, oh, vitamin D, eat more eggs or eat more fish, which vitamin D2 is in, but we can't guarantee that that's going to boost your vitamin D levels because the conversion, especially as we get older, the conversion can be tricky. Um, oh, yes. Let me share the links. I think, have I not shared the links? Oops. Okay, I will. Yes, I've shared the links earlier. Let me just repost them. Hopefully that works. That's the trend report and let's see, there you go. Okay, perfect. Um, Excellent. Great class. Brilliant. Oh, here we are, 57. The time just flew by. So I'm so excited that you're joining our MOT. We start next Friday at 11 a.m. and we are going to be talking about blood sugar. Over the course, we're going to be talking about heart conditions and blood pressure and circulation. We're going to be talking about liver. We're going to be talking about joints and inflammation, and we're also going to be talking about gut. So we've got a full schedule. If you know anyone who you think might be interested in joining, please share the sign up link and please get them involved. Brilliant. But wishing you a wonderful start and let us walk together into one of the best years of our lives. Okay, that is the new mantra. And just think about how that applies to you in terms of your nutrition, but obviously other aspects too. Fantastic. Lots of love to you all. Thank you so much for tuning in and see you next Friday. Okay, bye everyone.